This week in Hampton Roads, we followed a Norfolk restaurant's efforts to spread kindness as the historic government shutdown came to an end after 43 days. We covered a campaign launch for a familiar local candidate, setting the stage for a 2026 midterm election. We also shared one woman's story after her dog was allegedly shot by a reality TV personality on the Outer Banks. Let's catch you up on this week in Hampton Roads.
New at 4:30, driving along Interstate 64, you might have noticed express toll prices are going up. Less than a month ago, the price jumped to more than $20 for a single trip. Emily Harrison joins us after talking to VDOT about the incident. And Emily, they call this dynamic pricing.
Yes, indeed. The $20 toll is a bit of an extreme example, but it is all part of the pricing plan. Representatives tell me it's intentionally done to deter drivers from taking that route if there are too many cars already there. And if you're feeling discouraged when you see $20 for a ride, then it's working.
It's about picking and choosing when you want to use the expressway. David Caudill with VDOT says it's not meant to be an everyday occurrence, just when you need it.
They have to be there, be at a place at some time, and they're running late. Then, it starts to make sense for them.
Caudill says typically toll prices are within a $4 range. That only changes when Caudill says crashes happen on or near the expressway. If that occurs, it can lead to a price increase of up to $18 to $21.
The price reflects how much capacity is left, which creates that economic decision. Is this trip high enough value if I want to pay that as a non-HOV rider, or should I stay in the adjacent free general purpose lanes?
Drivers tell 13 News Now they are split when answering that question.
As far as paying a toll, I don't like it, but it's convenient, so I'll pay for a convenience.
We got to pay for something that we thought it was going to benefit us. It's really not.
Caudill says it's up to drivers to check the price before getting on the expressway. And if you are driving with a passenger, then remember, it's free.
Non-HOV folks, don't worry what the price is. And in Hampton Roads, it's only HOV2. So you only have to find one other buddy and you don't have to pay a toll at all.
Now, Caudill acknowledged that sometimes the algorithm or the sensors along that expressway, that determines how congested the expressway is, and it has been wrong before. It's rare, but when it happens, VDOT reverts back to historical pricing, which again should be around the $4 range. I'm Emily Harrison, 13 News Now.
And VDOT says their rates are also significantly cheaper than compared to D.C. or New York. Caudill recommended driving with a friend to bypass the toll altogether.
We started a food pantry in my front yard.
I was laying in bed with my husband one night watching TikToks, and I saw a few other people doing it. I originally was looking for another one to donate to, but I couldn't really find any in the area. So I said we could just start one ourselves. I am at the back of Whitewood Lane in Virginia Beach over in Kempsville. It was probably about 2 weeks ago when I just started really small with the just the box over behind me. My husband built it for me. So I got the drawers and then the bins, and it's just expanding since there. When I was a kid, I did struggle with food insecurity. And so without SNAP being available to people, even with SNAP, I know that people struggle with food insecurity. Frankly, I don't like the idea of kids going hungry or the disabled, elderly, that kind of thing. I knew diapers are a big item because they're not covered by any benefits anyways, and they're expensive. So I wanted to make sure diapers were out here, like baby food was out here, things like that. Pet food has been a really highly requested item. And so I've made sure to stock it with dog food, cat food, and I've tried to put some treats in there as well. I also put toiletries in there, oral hygiene, feminine hygiene. I felt that this gave people an opportunity to kind of come anonymously, take what they like, take what they need. Also leave if they wanted to, leave some stuff. The reception's been great. People have been so gracious and so kind about it. I didn't really realize how big of an impact it was going to have.
Some people in Moyoc are looking for answers after going without running water for days. Brianna Fallon spoke with a mother in that community who says this is a recurring issue.
The water just came back on this morning, but for the past 3 days, residents we spoke with say they did not have a single drop of running water.
Something got to give because we can't just go days and days without water.
No washing the dishes, no washing your hands, and no showers. A nightmare Rachel Rutherford claims she lived for days.
Yesterday, I had to go outside in rainwater just to put in my toilet to flush it.
Rutherford lives in the Carolina Village mobile home community with her 3 children. She says she had to drive back and forth from her home in Moyock to family in Portsmouth just to take a shower.
That I have kids, like I have to have water, like I have to have electricity, you gotta have food, you gotta have water. That's the main sources of living, and without water, it's struggling.
We spoke with management of the community. They confirmed the water was off for multiple days in every home, attributing the problem to a power surge that broke the well pump. As a temporary solution, Rutherford says management distributed a 12-pack of water bottles to residents, but she says that's not enough.
When you have 3 kids, what is a 12-pack?
Yeah.
Maybe to wash dishes a little bit, but you can't wash your body with that, not with 3 kids.
Again, while the water is back on, Rutherford says this was not the first time her water was turned off, leaving her worried for future outages. In Moyock, Brianna Fallon, 13 News Now.
And residents were given a notice for a boil water advisory.
What one Norfolk restaurant is doing to help families amid the government shutdown. Alex Littlehales joins us with the details.
Well, we have seen countless efforts to support families impacted by the shutdown, especially in a region so reliant on military and federal jobs. But what caught my attention on this particular story is the initiative from one local restaurateur who, you can argue, is not exactly in a position to be giving away free food right now.
A lunch rush is one thing.
All right.
But today, Evan Vang is prepping for a different kind of customer.
The idea of taking orders for that would be
Vang
absolutely insane.
Only opened the small Vango Bistro 5 months ago to the day, so not exactly in a position to be giving away free food.
I just see everyone fighting online. All this political, the whole political vibe of it, and it's certainly there, and you can't hide from it. I don't want to get loud and do the whole keyboard warrior thing. You know what I mean? So this is my way, I guess.
But that's exactly what he is doing tomorrow. Vang is emptying his food shelves this Wednesday, inviting anyone in the region affected by the month-long government shutdown to grab a meal on him.
In my head, I'm going 200 meals.
He's expecting hundreds to clear out his kitchen. He's not expecting to solve the problem or the political fight in Washington.
I know that this isn't going to save anybody, you know what I mean, but ultimately just a nice thing for somebody to have.
But within his powers, feeling as though he's making enough of a difference.
There's so much that you're throwing into the pot anyway, so it's why not just add a little bit more and just do something nice, you know what I mean? So yeah, there's gonna be a little bit of a hit, losing sales the day of and then just getting rid of all the product, but we'll recover. It'll be better. Yeah.
And Vang was not being hyperbolic either. He posted on social media saying he's, quote, clearing out our entire kitchen tomorrow. Reporting, I'm Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
And he added that he will not check IDs for proof of federal shutdown hardship, saying he's relying on people sticking to the honor system.
A local restaurant owner is clearing his shelves to feed federal workers facing hardship during the shutdown. Norfolk's Vango Bistro is serving free to-go meals all day through 8 p.m. or until they run out of food. Brianna Fallon has details.
People have been walking in and out of this building all afternoon to claim one of the free meal bags.
This right here, we have kimchi fried rice.
Evan Vang is cooking up something big for the community.
They get to come here, feel appreciated, and then take something home with them that they really like.
That being a 3-course meal. Vang is the owner of Vango Bistro, a new restaurant working to make its mark in the community. As a start, for today only, federal workers can stop by and pick up a free hot meal.
There's been such a slow burn with everything that's been happening, and it's what can I do? And this just seemed like the best idea.
Vang says at his shop, he promises an experience to his customers. And while he can't stock someone's fridge like a food bank can, Vang hopes providing a free meal can help brighten someone's day, especially during this difficult time.
This means a lot to people out there that really don't have food, but it's a good experience.
While again, Vang says this is a one-day only event, he's planning to make this a tradition, an act of kindness to give back to the community his shop continues to grow in.
It'd be something nice to do quarterly where we just kind of do this for whatever reason and just offer back. I think it'd just be a fun gesture.
In Norfolk, Brianna Fallon, 13 News Now.
Vang says as of 1 p.m. he served roughly 40 people, but he expects that number to climb shortly during the dinner rush.
A possible political comeback with national implications coming out of Hampton Roads. Former Congresswoman Elaine Luria officially announced she's running again for Virginia's 2nd congressional district.
So Luria served 2 terms in Congress after flipping the Republican-held seat in 2018. Alex Littlehell spoke with her as she looks to retake her old job.
After watching her successor from the sidelines in coastal Virginia, former Congresswoman Elaine Luria is back in the political arena.
It's a very different political environment today. People are fed up with the high prices. They think government's not working for them. They see the chaos in Washington.
Luria lost her last re-election bid to current Congresswoman Jen Kiggins, at the time facing strong political headwinds under former President Joe Biden. But in an interview with 13 News Now just this morning, Luria said she's running for Congress again because she believes the region needs someone who will stand up to the current Trump administration.
It bothers me that someone who's a nurse and a healthcare provider would go to Washington and actually vote for legislation that was actually the largest cut to Medicaid. The Republican Congress voted in lockstep. She had the opportunity to stand up and say that, I've been a nurse. I care about people having, the most vulnerable people on Medicaid, having access to health care. But she hasn't done that.
Luria lost her seat in 2022 following newly redrawn congressional maps that added Republican-leaning portions of Hampton Roads to the congressional district. In response to Luria, on 13 News Now's Live Impact News this afternoon, Congresswoman Kiggins downplayed the threat of a Democratic challenger.
The voters see what we do. They know that we have been working hard to be a common sense voice for Virginia's 2nd district.
I think that Virginia Beach has been voting blue for a while. Governor Youngkin's election was, an exception. But, the 3 times that I ran for Congress, I won Virginia Beach, that portion of the district, every time.
Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
In last week's statewide elections, Governor-elect Abigail Spanberger won Virginia's 2nd congressional district by more than 20,000 votes. A proposed resolution brought up tonight by the Norfolk School Board would drastically increase board member salaries. Derek Lytle spoke with the board's chair following the meeting. And Derek, you say these increases could be as much as 700%, right? From just over $3,000 to $25,000.
Yeah, Dana, it's that ask that the Norfolk School Board chair told me that is overdue. And she believes a lack of pay is preventing them from doing their job at the highest level. And she says people living in Norfolk, if they're not on board, they have the power to vote them out.
People talk about a 700% increase. Our stipends were $3,000 a year and $5,100 for the chair.
The Norfolk School Board chair says the low pay is not level with the high amount of hours they put in. She says board members are working second jobs and are not able to put in a complete effort to serve at the current pay rate.
Although there isn't conclusive research to suggest that this is a hindrance for people serving, it is a hindrance for people serving.
She says they looked at other city board pay scales. Virginia Beach, $20,000 for board members, $22,000 for their chair. Newport News, $15,000 for board members, $17,000 for their chair. Yet Norfolk's ask of $25,000 for board and $27,000 for the chair would be higher. Additionally, she believes they are owed the same as Norfolk City Council members.
We also looked at what City Council was being compensated at, and our resolution brings us up to be in line with City Council.
A member of the Norfolk community, Kate Powell, saw 13 News Now's publishing of tonight's discussion and came to the meeting to speak out.
You see something as a citizen like 700% increase in any budget.
Powell agrees. She believes paying an increase will support better involvement. However, that could have happened gradually instead of all at once.
On public service, on top of maybe another job or raising a family or whatnot, is it worth it in the long run?
With declining enrollment and schools closing, time will tell what people living in Norfolk think of this more than 700% increase ask by the Norfolk School Board.
Welcome the community's feedback. If they don't think we deserve it, that's okay. Vote us out.
Now, the board chair tells me the Norfolk School Board has never seen an increase, and they will take a next step by voting on it at a business meeting in December. Derek Lytle, 13 News Now.
All right, thanks so much, Derek. And if approved, the salary increase could go into effect in January 2027.
Thousands of local moms and children are getting the help they need thanks to one woman who turned her own crisis into a calling. Joy Ministries has provided support to families for 35 years, and now they're working to keep up with the growing demand. I sat down with founder Danette Crawford, who says she knows exactly what these moms are facing.
Danette Crawford was an evangelist on the road until her life changed overnight.
I became a single mom, and I was 9 months pregnant, and 5 days before I delivered my daughter, my husband left.
Out of that moment came a mission. Her organization, Joy Ministries, now runs 23 outreach programs across Hampton Roads, serving more than 1,000 children and families each year.
And the Lord spoke to me and said, I want you to adopt the neighborhoods. We meet them right where they're at.
Programs include food assistance, housing support, and transportation. From the Father's House, which provides transitional housing for mothers and children, to Cars for Moms, helping parents get to work.
Well, it is a great joy whenever we're able to bless a single mom with a car. It's a game changer.
Education is another cornerstone. The ministry's summer reading camp helps kids learn to read, a skill Crawford calls a ticket out of poverty.
Because reading is the foundation of all education. Do it in a way that is fun and it's exciting.
The nonprofit also fights sex trafficking, which she says is hidden in plain sight.
People would look at me crazy when I would say sex trafficking is a major problem in Hampton Roads. And I said it's happening right around us. So it's way better to prevent it than to try to rescue or rehabilitate.
But with mental health struggles, hunger, and housing shortages on the rise, Joy Ministries is asking for community support.
The demand for our programs are greater than ever, and the funds are lower. So we need people to be generous and give.
Crawford says every donation helps her continue turning her own trials into hope for others.
You have to keep standing in faith and keep moving forward and be determined that you're not going to quit in the pit.
Joy Ministries is raising money to pay off its Miracle Center. That's a hub for education, mentoring, and outreach. The organization is also collecting donations for its annual Holiday of Hope. That's a series of December events that provide gifts, meals, and family activities for local moms and children. We posted a link to donate in this story on 13newsnow.com. And email me if you know a person or group making a mark in Hampton Roads. I want to tell their story.
Tonight, as the government shutdown ends, countless people are still figuring out just how much they've been impacted. Alex Littlehels joins us in studio as people reflect on their biggest challenges in the last month. Alex.
Well, just one example of those challenges, the shutdown's end doesn't change the fact that hundreds of thousands of Virginians have had to navigate the changing status of food assistance here in Virginia for weeks. And with that comes a fear of inconsistent payments and in some cases, lost payouts altogether.
As she sits on her porch today.
Oh, yeah, I'm happy to see that its shutdown is over. But
Ray Diaz is thankful for the federal government's return. With it, she knows the return of stable food assistance she and hundreds of thousands of Virginians rely on is on the way.
There's a lady across the street that has children, and it's impacted them also. I have a niece that it's impacted her. She hasn't gotten anything for the month of November.
But it doesn't erase the challenges over the last month. Diaz sharing she's had to stretch her food supply for her and her granddaughter.
Without a whole lot of food, we just stretched what we had from last month, and we just stretched it out, and we're near about to the end of that.
And SNAP, just one of the impacted government programs.
When you don't really know when something's going to end, it's hard to plan.
Yeah.
So then, do you completely make a job switch? How long can you live on, supplemental benefits?
This Hampton Roads mom didn't want her face shown, but as someone impacted by disruptions to the federal government, specifically her veterans' benefits, wanted people to know how far-reaching the shutdown was.
Don't have a lot of faith in the government and what is going to happen, and what would not happen or keep happening, or the funds that they're, promising people, or SNAP benefits, that I don't even use, but my neighbors do.
So today is actually the deadline for when Virginia's roughly 800,000 SNAP recipients are actually supposed to get their monthly SNAP benefits. However, because of recent federal guidance, the Department of Social Services expects just 65% of those benefits to actually be issued. I'm Alex Littlehales for 13 News Now.
SNAP recipients may also get their allotments by Saturday if they did not receive food assistance through the state's recently announced Virginia Emergency Nutrition Assistance Program.
Well, tonight, two brothers who live in Newport News are waiting to be released from ICE custody. A U.S. district judge granted them bond and ordered their release from the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Facility in Farmville. Layla Cox spoke with a lawyer who worked on the case.
Months ago, two Newport News brothers on the pathway to U.S. citizenship landed in ICE custody.
They were detained and for no reason.
ACLU senior immigrant rights attorney Sophia Gregg says the 19 and 20-year-old men were, quote, arbitrarily arrested during an immigration sweep in August. Gregg says the brothers, who are remaining anonymous, out of fear of retaliation, came to the U.S. as minors from El Salvador. They were part of a special program for minors who enter the U.S. after facing abuse, abandonment, or neglect.
And then they were eligible to apply for a status called Special Immigrant Juvenile Status. It's a status that was created by Congress many years ago.
Under the Special Immigrant Juvenile Status, or SIJS, the immigration lawyer tells 13 News Now, the brothers lived in the country legally until ICE agents detained them more than 2 months ago. Gregg slammed the White House administration's new detention policies that she says not only sparked a large wave of ICE arrests across the nation, but denies the opportunity for release for those detained. ACLU Virginia filed a federal class action lawsuit on behalf of the brothers and two others who were also granted SIJS. The complaint argues that their detention is unlawful. 2 weeks ago, a federal court judge ruled that the plaintiffs, including the brothers, have the right to a bond hearing. And at that hearing this past Monday, a judge ordered ICE to release the men. Now, Gregg says the two brothers could walk free very soon.
It should be any minute now is our position. It should happen. It could happen right now. It could happen in the next hour. It could take 24 hours.
Layla Cox, 13 News Now.
And Greg tells 13 News Now the two brothers will return to live with their aunt in Newport News and are eager to get back to their lives while still following the legal procedures to obtain permanent U.S. citizenship.
Investigators need your help cracking a 40-year-old mystery in Chesapeake. The Department of Health is trying to identify the remains of a man hunters found his bones 40 years ago. To this day, no one knows who he is. Emily Harrison has the latest in the case.
A mystery for more than 40 years. The state's chief medical examiner's office is still looking for answers for who this person is.
These are people, they may fit into a box right now, but at one point they were a live person.
In 1983, hunters made the grisly discovery of human bones off of a dead-end road in Chesapeake. Scientists with the FBI later created this rendering of how they believe the man looked, as they say the man was probably dead for 1 to 4 years before the hunters found him. Laura Newell, the long-term unidentified coordinator for the state, says they found limited pieces of DNA.
Since he was skeletonized, we didn't have any fingerprints. Even though we have x-rays and dental charting on him, we can't upload that anywhere.
Now Newell is leading the charge to find out who this man was, and she hopes answers may still be out there.
It wasn't that long ago. It was 42 years ago. There are people that are still alive that may remember when he was found. Maybe they knew something back then, but they didn't feel comfortable reaching out to anyone.
There are more than 300 unidentified remains cases ongoing in Virginia. Newell says they all deserve a better ending than this.
They had favorite things. They had a favorite color, a favorite food. They had a whole life. Honoring them by performing this work is, I think, the most amazing thing that anyone can ever do.
Emily Harrison, 13 News Now.
Well, if you think you recognize that man or have an idea about who that person may be, call the Chief Medical Examiner's Office. That number is 804-786-3174.
Dana Amy Doe shares with me that her two dogs got out this past Saturday. One returned home, the other did not. Now she describes the first moments her son laid eyes on their dog that had been shot and killed, dumped in the woods, as horrific. And she says today the felony arrest of Britton Shackelford is the first step to getting justice.
Out hollering for him. Heard a gunshot.
This past Saturday in Wanchese, North Carolina, Amy Doe's dogs Hudson and Honey got out. Only one returned. Now, after a Facebook post in the OBX Lost and Found group, Doe was flooded with responses.
Meantime, my phone had blown up with messages saying, you need to check his house, Britton Shackelford's house, for your dog. And he lives through the woods, way through the woods.
She says Britton Shackelford told her he had shot her dog because it was attacking his pig and dumped the body.
Retrieved her body and cut her collar off and put her in the wheelbarrow at the end of the driveway.
Dare County Sheriff's Office making the decision Thursday to charge Britton Shackelford with felony cruelty to animals and misdemeanor discharging of a firearm within 300 yards of an occupied dwelling.
In this town where everybody knows everybody, and I know the dogs that wander through my yard, I would never, ever, I could never conceive of hurting another animal.
Shackelford, seen here in 2011 speaking with 13 News Now during preps for Hurricane Irene, is known for his longtime ownership of doghouse sport fishing and being featured on reality show Wicked Tuna for 6 seasons, a reason Doe was initially scared to come forward to police.
And I have gotten a few not very nice private messages, but she was shot for no reason.
Doe believes while she lost her dog, people can change for the better.
He needs to get help. He needs to get help for that. That's what I want to say.
Doe's surviving dog Hudson seen grieving at Honey's grave. Doe says animals are forever family.
Just part of my family. I know a lot of people say it's just a dog, but it's not just a dog. For those people out there that do have pets, they're part of the family. And Hudson's really grieving her being gone. And the whole thing is just like almost losing a family member.
Now, I did briefly get a hold of Britton Shackelford. He told me that his lawyers are advising him to not speak on this incident today, and he says that his name will be cleared when he has his day in court. Here in Dare County, Derek Lytle, 13 News Now.
A known serial killer is linked to his 4th victim. Virginia State Police say Alan Wilmer sexually assaulted and murdered 18-year-old Lori Ann Powell.
It's a cold case that has baffled investigators for more than 30 years, and it's now solved because of DNA evidence.
Emily Harrison joins us in the studio now. And Emily, police say Wilmer is also behind what's known as the infamous Colonial Parkway murders.
Yes, indeed. They are also known as the Lover's Lane murders. As investigators say, Wilmer targeted extremely isolated strips of Colonial Parkway for his victims. Now the number of known victims rises to 4, including 20-year-old David Knobling, 14-year-old Robin Edwards, 29-year-old Teresa Lynn Howell, and now 18-year-old Lori Ann Powell. Powell's family today says while they may never get justice, they now at least have an answer.
Lori Ann Powell's family sat in tears as they have waited for this day for more than 30 years, remembering Lori Ann as a vivacious young woman.
We are profoundly grateful to the dedicated law enforcement professionals who never gave up on finding justice for Lori Ann.
Lori Ann disappeared in 1988 after police say she got into an argument with her boyfriend and walked away on Route 614 in Gloucester County. Weeks later, investigators found her body on Craney Island, where she had been stabbed multiple times and sexually assaulted. Investigators used that DNA evidence decades later to connect her death to Alan Wilmer.
He traveled the community quite a bit in various vehicles. It's looking at the proximity of some of these cases.
Investigators say Wilmer used his commercial fishing boat to transport victims to various crime scenes. Detectives found Edwards and Knobling's bodies just 10 miles from Lori Ann Powell's. When I asked why Wilmer is not included in the national DNA database, as Wilmer is suspected in many more cases, VSP says their hands are tied.
It's prohibited from being entered into CODIS. In order for it to be entered in CODIS, you have to be convicted or arrested of certain felony offenses, and Wilmer was not.
Wilmer died without any felony convictions in 2017. Since his DNA cannot be nationally searched, investigators are asking anyone who knew him to come forward.
Any information could be the one tip that's needed to connect him to another case.
Again, Wilmer is suspected of at least 7 more deaths associated with the Colonial Parkway murders. VSP says Wilmer's family has helped investigators. Emily Harrison, 13 News Now.
All right, Emily, thank you. And in a statement, Powell's family says while nothing can erase the pain of losing Lori Ann, today we find comfort in knowing that the truth has come to light and that accountability has finally been achieved.